Good evening and welcome to Fleetway's Roundup with your boy, of course, me. And man, oh man, oh man, when I tell y'all I've missed you guys. I love once again, I always be loving when I see people who stream in to check me out, see what news I got in store for them. And when I tell you that a lot of news is definitely came up, man, there's been a lot of news for sure. And I'm going to be trying to break it down. Heck, one of the topics that's going to be towards the end of the show, I even have to have my phone here on the side because it's something that's ongoing currently as I am streaming. So I want to be able to keep things updated in case anything super big happens. But this show, we got a lot. Cinemacon is going on right now this week. We're going to be talking about this indie animated show that I've been watching for a while, getting a theatrical release to one of the episodes, having some drama behind it. We're going to talk about some little stuff going on in the sports world involving with the NBA, NFL, my Green Bay Packers a little bit, and with so much more. So we're going to go, first off, let's start off with a little bit of a disclaimer here, because you guys may remember last week I had briefly talked about a topic involving with the hit game Roblox, involving with one of the games and someone supposedly dying due to epilepsy. Well, we did get an update over the weekend where, and I'm not going to pull that up because it's not much to really read into, more so I could just tell you myself, but it was an update. We did get proper information that seems like this was just some people trying to get some clout. Which I think it sucks that we're in a world nowadays where people want to get clout, faking the news of someone dying. Like, you could have seriously ruined the reputations with that kind of stuff, and it's like, once again, it kind of adds a little bit to why I'm not a big fan of how it feels like the age has been getting younger and younger of people getting their hands on phones, and it's like they're showing these kids are showing this immaturity that they really don't know what power they hold in their devices with the stuff they post. So it got debunked. Still leaves a lot of those questions about how the developers behind the game treated it, especially with the comments they made, that even if it was fake, that still doesn't give you a right to talk the way they were talking about it, especially if this ended up all being true. But again, it didn't. So I'm glad the person is still alive. It sucks that people had to be faking a death just to get proper news, but sadly, that's just the world that we live in. But I at least wanted to get that disclaimer, because I did say I would tell y'all an update if I did find out anything, and I did. So hey, we at least got our update on that. But we're going to go and get on to our topics here. And our first topic we're going to go and talk about, I wanted to start off the show because y'all know I've made it very clear where I stand with generative AI. And I've briefly talked about my religion on this show for split seconds, that I do believe in God and I do believe in Jesus. And well, one of the breaking news that happened these past couple of days was, it was announced, and I'm going to move my camera here, that, and I'm going to read off from this post too, tech company Just Like Me has launched an AI Jesus avatar users can talk to for $1.99 per minute. The AI, based on the chosen actor Jonathan Romy, can pray with users, speak multiple languages, and remember past conversations. Users can also pay $49.99 a month for a 45-minute call with AI Jesus. When I saw this news, I thought that maybe this was some prank, maybe some false news. But no, it's from an official account talking about this, and man, it just sucked to see this, because I always tell people about this generative AI stuff that it's really not a joke when it comes to this, and that people are going to get more and more confident to do things. And this is just one of those. I mean, it's already bad enough with AI stealing people's voices and stealing their likeness to just make them do something that they would never do, or or the AI having to steal artwork from others to create its own art, as we call it AI art. And now we're reaching a point where a company is going to now has gone to effect making a artificial intelligence version of Jesus. That's ridiculous. I mean, this is this is the type of false idols we hear about when we read the Bible and stuff. And now we are seeing this. I mean, we've seen false idols of people claiming they're gods and stuff, but now we are getting to a point where now a company is making an artificial intelligence, a fake fraud Jesus for people to pay money to talk about. And let me give y'all a secret from a Christian here to my audience. Come closer. This is some knowledge for you guys. You might not know this because I mean they're trying to charge you $1.99 to pray and talk with this AI Jesus. So let me break this down for y'all. You can pray to Jesus for free. You can pray to the actual Jesus that's up there for free and avoid paying money for some fake that this company's trying to make money on. And again, this is just stuff I hate to see. I already don't like generative AI, and now I'm seeing it trying to infect my belief system, and especially trying to fool people into thinking that they could talk to an artificial intelligence Jesus like that's going to ever give you the fulfillment of talking to the real deal. And another thing that kind of makes me sad to see this is the actor that's getting attached. Now, there has not been any statements on if he get, because there can be companies that can steal people's likeness without their permission, but we have gotten to a point where now if AI is being used of a person who is alive, or even someone who might have passed away, normally it comes down with either the family gave the permission if they're passed away, or the person might have given the permission themselves. Perfect example, Fortnite, when there was a brief moment they had Darth Vader show up in the game, and of course you know the late great James Earl Jones, he was the voice of Darth Vader. And when he came into the game, this is around the time James Earl Jones was already passed away. And so the game Fortnite used a AI generated voice to replicate James Earl Jones' voice of Darth Vader for the players to talk to, and he would respond, all of that. It turned to a big outrage. Everybody was all like, how could you do this to him? Like, that's so insensitive. He's passed away. And I still stand by that, but it also was stated that he did give permission to Disney, which but still, that's his choice. He gave permission to Disney to use his voice for AI generation, so then people would still be able to enjoy hearing the iconic voice of Darth Vader for generations to come. So that's to say is that we're at a point where now these actors, a lot of times, if they're being used for this kind of stuff, they typically are given permission. Like I said, we haven't gotten any official statement if he has given permission to this company to use his likeness for this AI Jesus thing, but I'm sadly on the side to feel inclined that he did, and to hear about that really just sucks, because I really liked the show The Chosen on I remember watching it when it was at its humble beginnings with the Kickstarter and needing to get money just to fund the show to keep going, and now it's reached a point where it was getting episodes released in theaters and Amazon Prime picking it up for people to watch it, and I really was enjoying it. It's not 100% accurate to what I've read in the Bible, but I think it does a solid job at taking the word and being able to translate it for audiences to watch with their eyes. And I liked the show, but now to see this actor who is attached to the show be okay with possibly being okay with giving his likeness to an artificial intelligence Jesus, that just goes against everything that your show, the Bible, would be believing in, and you are okay with that. So now this leaves me with kind of a salty taste in my mouth, where it's like, I don't know if I could still support watching The Chosen if you're going to be a part of it, because now you are showing your true colors, that you're bringing down the rest of the show with you. And yeah, it just, like I said, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth for the show The Chosen. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth with that actor portraying Jesus. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth that we are, as a society, are reaching that point where we are now creating an artificial intelligence Jesus. It doesn't sit right with me. But as always, as I say on every episode of my show, the chats and the comments are open. Share your opinion on that. What do you think about, just like me, creating an artificial intelligence Jesus for people to pay money and talk to? Share your opinion on that. I don't know how anybody could be okay with it because I know I'm not. But still, what do you think about it? But we're going to go and move on to our next topic here. And we're going to go and kind of fast forward through some sports stuff. There isn't too much to really talk about, but there still was some big things. The first being from my Green Bay Packers. During the week, there was the announcement the Packers would be trading one of our wide receivers, Dontavian Wicks, to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for let me move my camera here, for a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 sixth-round pick. And this trade has kind of big implications for both teams. One, I think the Packers came out with a win, honestly, because the fact that this is a receiver that, let's be real, when the depth chart, which for my non-football fans, that's the depth chart is normally each position where someone stands. So in quarterback, Jordan Love, our current quarterback, he's the top of the depth chart. So he's the starting QB, and then there's whoever's below him is this backups and backup to the backup. So Dontavian Wicks on that depth chart, while he has had great catches, even last season, he's proven to be a very reliable guy. He was starting to fall down, and especially last year since we drafted both Matthew Golden in the first round from the Longhorns and drafted Savion Williams from Texas Christian University. Dontavian Wicks is now starting to find that weird middle ground where we didn't know. Exactly. I agree with that. MCD Ministries, they cannot eliminate the Holy Spirit, and they could try as hard as they want. The enemy could try as hard as they want, but they're not going to succeed. And I think that will be a faulty example that they can't win. But I'm glad that you commented on that for sure. But I 100% agree with you. But back to the Packers news here, that, as I said, Dontavian Wicks, he was a very reliable receiver for the Packers, but it was starting to become very clear that I even think the Packers, my team, they got to start limiting who are the receivers that they want to focus on. And they've already started that, where Romeo Doubs, he got released and the Patriots picked him up for a huge contract. Now the Packers have made a trade with the Eagles. And again, I think that this is a win because this is the guy that was heavily being rumored to not be with this team heading into free agency, or that the Packers would trade him. And the fact that we were able to get not one but two draft picks, one for this year in the 5th round and another for the next year in the 6th round, that's pretty good. But the team we got to also talk about where the implications are is the Philadelphia Eagles. Because as you've heard on my show, we have been talking about a certain receiver on this Philadelphia Eagles team in A.J. Brown. Even as you can see when I look him up, there's already stuff coming out from the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman, because he's now being asked about it, that now they've picked up another receiver to this team. And he's like, no, A.J. Brown is an Eagle. I'm sorry, Howie. I don't believe you. I might have believed you when a couple weeks ago that you thought A.J. Brown would still be a Philadelphia Eagle. But at this point, I don't believe it. I do not believe that you intend on keeping A.J. Brown. And the reason I don't believe the Eagles intend on keeping A.J. Brown on this team is the fact of how many receivers they've been getting in this offseason. And let me see if I can get their offseason moves here real quick, because they have signed a lot. They've signed a lot of people. I'm going to real quick because I don't want this to be playing in the background while I am looking this down. But so, as you can already see, the Eagles have made a lot of moves for receivers. If I'm correct, they've collected now a total of 3 receivers, all receivers that have shifted around from number 1 to number 2 receivers on other teams. Hollywood Brown, he came from the he was, of course, he's now filling in that role because originally the Eagles did have Jahan Dotson, but he's now going to the Atlanta Falcons. So Hollywood Brown from the Kansas City Chiefs, considered a really speedy receiver, is being brought over for a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles to join that team. So that's one receiver. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll down because I know that there's more. Elijah Moore, formerly he's been around the league for a while now. He's been with, if I'm correct, the Browns. He's been with teams a lot, even the Jets. And his most recent team, he was on the Bills. And now he's going to be joining the Eagles for a 1-year deal. And now we are talking about Dontavian Wicks, another receiver who has joined the Eagles. And that is not one, not two, but three receivers who have all bounced around as possible number one receivers or number two receivers. And to me, I feel that this is building towards a separation. I feel that the Eagles are essentially building in preparation to possibly separate with A.J. Brown, considering all of the drama with him sitting on the sideline reading a book when they went to the Super Bowl. Everybody was like, oh, A.J. Brown is sitting on the sideline. He's reading a book. What is he doing? Is he not paying attention to the game? But, of course, we all know what happened. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl and whooped on the Kansas City Chiefs. Whoop, 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 whoop. But still, there's been drama with A.J. Brown, and it keeps getting more and more prominent. And I believe that you don't go and bring three receivers at the caliber that the guys that I've listed to your team unless you are preparing for the very likely possibility that you're going to send your number one receiver to another team. You're going to promote Devontae Smith, who was Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown would kind of switch to. I even briefly talked about Devontae Smith when there was that flag football game when he was being covered by iShow Speed. But Devontae Smith, he's kind of switched from a number one to number two receiver on the Eagles between him and A.J. Brown. But a lot of people would probably say A.J. Brown is the number one receiver. But like I said, you don't go bringing in these three receivers unless there is a high chance that you are considering the idea that A.J. Brown is not coming back to your team, that he's going to end up going to another team in a trade, most likely, because I don't think they're going to just release him. He's made it clear that he's interested in the idea of getting a new scenery with someone else. So I think this is the game plan, is that they intend on trading A.J. Brown to get some picks. They're going to promote Devontae Smith to the number one receiver on the team. Then Dontavian Wicks, Elijah Moore, and Hollywood Brown, they're going to compete for that number two receiver spot. Then once that's determined, one of them will become the number three and then the number four receiver. I really feel like that's the game plan the Eagles are doing, and I think that's smart. But I think they're trying really hard they're trying really hard not to give away that they intend on trading A.J. Brown. But that's what I think. I think that they intend on moving on from him, get some picks, and Devontae Smith will be the new number one receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles. But again, I could be wrong. This could just be them bolstering the lineup. I just think that's weird to go into the season with 5 receivers, and a lot of those new receivers you've picked up are all receivers who have shown talent that they could be a number two or number two receiver, especially if there's going to be a change in the number one receiver. But hey, for any football people out there, you share. Do you think that this could be leading to that all these moves the Eagles are making at wide receiver could be leading towards a separation between them and their former number one receiver in A.J. Brown? Or do you think that this is just them doing what any football team should do, and that's bolster their lineup? Share in the chat or comments below what you think. But we're going to move on to our next little sports news here, and that is the NFL draft is coming up, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably one of the next biggest things in the NFL to happen, next to, of course, the NFL actually starting, the free agency, the Super Bowl, the playoffs. The NFL draft is normally the next biggest thing to be going down. And this year, the NFL draft will be taking place in Pittsburgh. So I know that environment's going to be exciting. You're going to probably see a lot of people dressed up in black and yellow repping the Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised if Terry Bradshaw probably shows up. I mean, everybody should know Terry Bradshaw, the OG Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, the legend. I remember my mom would always tell me when she was a Steelers fan back in the day when the Rams went to St. Louis, she was like, "Oh, Terry Bradshaw was fine back in the day." But yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up to announce when the Steelers pick someone in the draft. But still, a big moment. I mean, it's a big moment for these young players heading in. The moment where they get a crossover from college football to the league. And Of course, this is going to be going from Thursday, April 23rd to Saturday, April 25th. Of course, that isn't when my show is going around. And I did originally consider the idea of going live to react to the picks and see where that goes. But that's a lot of time to put into reacting to every pick that gets made. So I'm leaning more towards that. I'll probably just sit back, watch how the draft goes, sees who all gets picked up, and then the Tuesday following, I will most likely then hop on, focus a huge chunk of my show for that episode. I think that's going to be episode 12 when I go on live to talk about that. So I'll talk about which team picked up what, where would I rank it, do I think that that was a good pick, do I think that that's going to fix a need for that team, and go from there. But exciting news, I'm excited to see there's a lot of picks going into this. I mean, we got, again, I've always talked about it, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. They got the number 1 pick. So are they going to go and pick up the rookie out of Indiana in Fernando Mendoza, or do they have another game plan, especially after picking up Kirk Cousins from the Falcons to be their essential bridge QB to start, mentor whoever comes in, and then hopefully get that rookie ready for the next season? Or who knows, there's Ty Simpson, the Alabama QB, who could possibly get picked up in one of the early rounds. We don't know what's going to happen with him. So there's a lot of players. You got him. You have the running back, Jeremiah Love, a guy that was heavily being seen that the Chiefs would maybe pick him up. But the Chiefs went and got former Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker to play for them. So they might not go for him now, but that still leaves the Titans, maybe the Cardinals. So, yeah, there's a lot of while the quarterback room might not be as exciting as the previous years, there's definitely a lot of other skill positions that are going to be those players you want to focus on. And some of the names I've listed are ones that we'll see who goes for them. But you share down. Are you excited for the NFL draft coming up? I know I am, 100% sure. But another thing we're going to talk about in our little sports section here is not football related, but it is NBA related, basketball. I don't really talk too much about basketball because it's one of those sports that I don't watch as much as I do football, and I don't pay attention to a lot of the intricate details to basketball like I do football. I mean, I know about, of course, the quarters. I know about the different types of shots, whether it's a three-pointer, two-pointer, the free throws. So I know a little bit about that. I know some of the players, et cetera, but I'm not too keen on it like I am football. But I still wanted to at least share with you guys, we are heading into the playoffs. The NBA playoffs is coming up, but at this current time, we do have the NBA play-in. Now, I do know about that at least. The NBA play-in, for my non-basketball people out there, this is where teams are essentially, who aren't in the playoffs, are competing to try to get themselves into the playoffs. And we have, as a total right now, we have 16 teams that are left. Not 16 teams. We have 8 teams that are left that are going to be competing, trying to get themselves into the playoffs. As you can see right here, those final 8 teams that we are talking about are the Miami Heat, the Hornets, the Magic, not the Magic, but Magic, the 76ers, the Clippers, the Warriors. That's my team. Even though I don't watch a lot of basketball, I do love the Warriors and Steph Curry, but he hasn't really been playing because he's been injured most of the season, sadly. The Trailblazers and the Suns. And so how that will go down is today we have the Heat and Hornets competing to move on to the next round to face off whoever wins in the Magic 76ers match tomorrow. And again, for tonight, the Trailblazers and Suns will be playing against whoever wins the Warriors Clippers game tomorrow, Friday, to determine who continues on into the playoffs. So I'm rooting for my Warriors to make it in there, but even then, I know if they make it into the playoffs, I'm pretty certain they'll get eliminated in the first round. They just got too many injuries that took them out, sadly. So that sucks. But hey, are you going to be watching the NBA playoffs? Do you have a team in this final 8 that you're hoping makes it into the playoffs and sneaks their way in? But again, I don't know too much about basketball like I do football, so that was just something I at least wanted to share because there might be some basketball fans watching this show that's like, hey, you should talk about the play-in, talk about what's going on with that. So there you go. I talked about the play-in. But we're going to go and move on to our next news here, and that is, as I talked at the beginning, about a certain indie animated show called The Amazing Digital Circus. I have watched it. I think it's a really solid watch. It's been on YouTube for a couple years now for free. You could go on there. Every episode's on there for free, and I think that they tell a pretty solid story. I've been invested in these characters for a while, and it was announced that their big finale episode is going to be hitting theaters, which is big. For anybody that is not familiar with animation, when we call something indie animated, that is independent, meaning that these are people that are not, they're not Warner Brothers, they're not Paramount, they're not Disney, they're not Universal, they're not this, they're not any big companies. They are an independent studio of small creators who are making something out of pure enjoyment, out of pure love. And I'm not saying that the big studios can't make something that's out of love, but it feels very few in between, you know. But indie animation, you typically find a lot more of that passion coming out. And this is big. This is big that an indie animated project like The Digital Circus is going to be hitting theaters like this. But with this big news, as you can see, will premiere in the U.S. theaters nationwide from June 4th to the 7th. There is controversy, and that controversy comes a lot with the release date and where it's releasing. Now, I will be updating you, thankfully, with some good news to this, but it started off where it was announced that this would be coming to the U.S. theaters. They also revealed it would only be like the U.S. and Japan, and it would be releasing June 4th through the 7th, but then everybody else would see it for free on YouTube on the 19th. And it kind of caused a little bit of a rift in the fan base where there were fans who were like, wait a minute, this movie ain't going to come into my theater, and you mean I got to sit back and wait 2 weeks not to get spoiled for this big finale of a show I've been watching and supporting for a while, and now I have to stay, and all you can suggest to me for the people who think I'm being entitled or complaining, that you just need to stay off the internet. That's all you need to do. And of course, I gotta disagree with that statement, but it's turned into a big thing. People are complaining about it. Some people have turned this into I don't want to pay money to support them if they. It's a lot to talk about, you know. And again, it's been a serious thing that's caused a lot of discourse in this fan base about the release and people not wanting to get spoiled and feeling in a sense betrayed that this show they've been supporting for so long is now they won't be able to witness it with everybody else, and now we'll have to wait two whole weeks to see it come to YouTube. But like I said, there are good news with this. One of the big good news is that the company that makes the Digital Circus Glitch, they did come out with an official statement about the recent controversy, and I will read this for you. I'll probably summarize it. I probably won't read everything because it is long, but they said, "Hey everyone, Kevin, CEO of Glitch here. I wanted to jump in and talk directly about the theatrical release of the Digital Circus finale and it being 2 weeks before its YouTube release. The reason we're pushing for this at all is because this one event has the potential to change how the entire industry views indie animation. If this works, if we get a YouTube animated series into thousands of theaters globally, it opens the door not just for us, but for many creators, many projects, and the future of original creator-led storytelling. To be blunt, getting to this point has been a massive uphill battle, and I'm not surprised it has, because you can't expect an indie company, studio, or creator to be able to negotiate with these theaters, people who deal with big name companies and studios to be able to there's going to be a lot of negotiating. So I definitely can understand it's been a tough uphill battle. The traditional film industry has never really done something like this before at global scale. Like a lot of the bets we've taken over the last 8 years of running Glitch, it takes a bit of a risk to truly push into new territory, but we really believe it's worth it. The 2-week gap came out of a lot of back and forth. Theaters were originally asking for a minimum of a month. I pushed hard to get it down to just 1 week or less, but they weren't willing to budge that far. 2 weeks was where we finally landed, and even that was apparently unheard of for them. I get that it's not ideal for everyone, and I generally hear the frustration, but if this works, it changes the game for us and for a lot of other independent creators down the line. And I agree with that. We do want to support these future indie creators down the line so they could be able to help push. We've already seen it. Markiplier, a very famous YouTuber who's made tons of gaming videos and other type of videos, He came out with that movie Iron Lung earlier this year. So we're starting to see this shift where, and like I said, I've talked about the other movie, The Backrooms, coming out later this year. That's coming from a 20-year-old YouTuber who was making videos, and now he's directing a movie based off of the series he's made. So we're seeing a shift in this dynamic from these big studios relying on the big go-to directors, and now we're seeing that we're starting to see these small-time creators get more push to make movies and stuff. So I completely get that, and I'm on the side of the people that it's like, if their country can't have it, I understand their frustration that it's like, you're telling us we have to stay off of the internet for 2 whole weeks to avoid spoilers, especially when this fan base has shown that they are very eager to talk about stuff from this show. So I understand that frustration, and everybody's saying, oh, well, just stay off of Twitter. Well, sorry to break it to you, we sadly live in a world where algorithms and our very own devices be listening to everything we say. They do that so they can build, and I'm going to get y'all a little hip on that. They listen, these phones, and they're probably listening to me now, I don't care, but these phones and these technology, they listen to us, because haven't you ever noticed that you'll talk about this and that, and then next you know, you go on Google and then you get a personalized ad talking about, hey, like for example, you could have been talking to a coworker or a friend being like, man, I gotta lose this weight. There's gotta be some kind of way to lose this weight. But then next you know, you go on Instagram or Twitter or Google, and then you get a random personalized ad saying, hey, you should drink this mushroom coffee. It really helps with your digestive system. And you just sit back and be like, I didn't look this up. There is no history of me searching this thing up at all. So how did you know that I'm feeling this way about my diet? So yeah, for the people that are using the just stay off of Twitter to avoid the spoilers excuse, sorry to break it to you, we live in a world where that's not possible. If you are looking up or even talking about a certain topic, the algorithm is going to listen to what you are talking to and push that forward for you to see it. Because I'm even going to give y'all some examples. For example, for me, when I was trying to avoid spoilers for, I remember, for example, the Mario Galaxy movie. We talked about that. I remember I'm trying to avoid spoilers, and guess what? I go on YouTube because YouTube has been a source of an entertainment and way how I get my news so I can bring this news to you guys. And the first thing I see on my suggested is a thumbnail and title saying, spoilers, so-and-so is in this movie. And I'm like, are you serious right now? I've been doing so good to stay not spoiler free, and I just got spoiled. It happened with the Sonic movie. I remember Sonic 3. Before I saw it, I was trying my best to stay off of Twitter because I didn't want to get spoiled, because I don't trust the Sonic fan base to stay quiet about a movie as big as Sonic 3 was. But again, I go on there. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Next, you know, I go on YouTube, and one of the very first videos is a thumbnail of Amy/Metal Sonic in the movie saying, spoilers, Amy's in Sonic, is going to be in Sonic 4. And I'm like, are you serious right now? So again, I understand the frustration. You can't just simply tell people stay off of Twitter for 2 whole weeks and not get spoiled. It's going to happen one way or another. Someone's going to go into the movie. They're going to take we now especially live in a day and age where people take their phone cameras, record scenes, take pictures, and post it online for views. So I understand that frustration, but I also want people to not go after Glitch, because this wasn't a decision they made lightly. It's clear and obvious they had to make this decision. They had to negotiate. Yeah, exactly. 6 Daydream. Yeah, a YouTube animation that made it to theaters. This is a big movement. A very big movement that something from YouTube is going to be making it to theaters. This could change the game. I 100% agree with this. Hey, okay, I see Keena Davis 4142 watching from Spring, Texas. Glad you're watching from Spring. Fellow Texans unite. But Yeah, so again, like I explained, we live in a world, sadly, where everybody's recording everything to spoil and get views at the end of the day. There is really no way you can avoid spoilers for long until sooner or later, the algorithm, your phone, your computer, any kind of device is going to be listening to what you talk about, what you look at, and is going to make personalized ads to sooner or later put it on your screen and be like, hey, here's this. So yeah, at the end of the day, that's where I stand as far as the whole spoiler debate when it comes to this movie that's coming out. But like I said, there is some good news, and I'm going to see if I can pull that up here. I think they did talk about it on Discussing Film. I don't want to spoil anything because, like I said, there is a topic we're going to be talking about that a lot of my information news is going to come from this. But I want to see. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. You just got to get this pulled up because one of the kind of like enlightening, happy, good news that we have heard involving this digital circus thing is, well, let me see here. Let's see if they did talk about it. Okay, well, one of the first big things is this movie is setting records. The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act, has set pre-sale records at Fathom after making $5 million in 4 days. I mean, wow. That, like I said again, this is an indie, independent animated series heading to the big screen, and it is setting records that probably other movies, when they do their little pre-sales, like tickets on sale now, have never reached this in the span of only 4 days. That's big. And as it even says here, more theaters are set to be added. That's another plus. We're seeing that more theater, because people are sending their emails out. I even sent one out too. Not for mine, because I know I'm going to be able to see it here in Texas, but I'm sending those emails out as well to help support, because it's showing that people who are sending these emails out to theaters in their countries that, hey, we want to see this movie here, but you don't have it available. Come on, make this available for us. We really want to see it. We're going to pay money to see this movie, and it's making a push. It really is. And I've even been seeing, they've been announcing New Zealand is going to now have showings for this digital circus finale. Australia is going to, I know New Zealand, Australia in that same area. The UK is getting it. So we're seeing it's working. So yeah, definitely. You got to look into it. It's a YouTube series. It's a animated series on YouTube called the Amazing Digital Circus. They've had 8 episodes. This is the big finale that's coming out into theaters in June, and I'm excited for it. I've been watching the series myself. I have enjoyed it. I've gotten attached to these characters, but still, again, this is big. From the fact that now more theaters are being added, the records they're setting, and also it's also been said they're actually increasing the day where this movie will be in theaters for a longer period of time, closer to when it releases for free on YouTube, which is like, that's good. They're finding a way to find this balance, and I'm really happy. I'm glad that they're finding the balance. The pushback is working. They're seeing that people want to see this movie and don't want to be spoiled and will pay money to go see it. So you see, if you are able to do it the right way, keep talking about it, keep promoting, keep sharing your opinions, you see that you're able to make big changes. So again, congratulations to the creator Gooseworks. Congratulations to Glitch that they're making big strides in indie animation. And I can't wait to see this movie when it comes out. I'm not going to wait till it comes on YouTube. I want to see it when it comes out. But we're going to move on to our next topic here. And that is, we got some hacking news going on. A lot of hacking news. One in the animation industry that just happened, and one in the gaming industry that happened a couple days ago. The first one we're going to talk about. Hackers are threatening to leak Rockstar's data after claiming access via a third-party service. Shiny Hunters is their name, says Rockstar has until April 14th to respond via the CyberSec guru. Man, now if you don't know Rockstar Games, they're the people behind classics like Bully, Red Dead Redemption, GTA. They've done all the GTA games, and they're supposed to be having the anticipated GTA 6 coming out sooner or later. We don't know when. It was supposed to be coming out last year, then it got pushed back to this year, and now it's been pretty MIA on if it's even going to come out this year. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for them to finally have this game come out. It's been winning awards for most anticipated games. It's became a big joke where people are saying, we're going to get a new Godzilla movie before we get GTA 6. That's been the running joke online now, but Rockstar can't catch a break. They've been hacked again, where now they're being threatened to have to, I guess, pay these why she looks spooky. She doesn't look spooky in that picture. That was tears in her eyes. I don't want to spoil anything for people who might be watching this show that may intend on watching it, but that frame kind of has big implications that happened in the last episode. So I can't spoil anything, but no, it's not anything spooky. She's sad in that picture, but I can't go into too much detail. I don't want to spoil anything. But back to the news about Rockstar. Man, they can't catch a break. They keep getting hacked. And sadly, as it did say, they had until April 14th to respond. And just before I would be talking about the show on April 11th, on April 13th, sadly, it was reported that Rockstar Games' breach data obtained through Anadot has been leaked by shiny hunters. Yep, so I guess Rockstar couldn't respond, probably because they're already paying a lot of money for GTA 6 to come out, because apparently they're spending billions of dollars for this game to look the way it's planning on looking, and I guess they couldn't meet the threats, and so now everything's been leaked. The files total out to 8.1 gigabytes and contain anti-cheat source code, player analytics, game data, Zendesk ticket feeds, financial data, and more. A thread analyzing what has been leaked. We're not going to go into that thread because that would mean we'll be on this show for way too long, and we got more topics to talk about. But yeah, poor Rockstar. They man, you would think with all this money they're putting into these games that they're making, or the money they get back from these games, they would be able to have a stronger security system. But hackers are getting better each and every day, and it's getting scary with how good they're getting at breaching into these well-known companies to get their information. And one of the next hacking things we're going to talk about is from even a bigger company than Rockstar that's been affected by hackers. But yeah, poor Rockstar Games. They've been leaked again. So I fear with another hack like this, I would not be surprised if GTA 6 gets pushed even further back, probably all the way to 2029. I'll probably be a married man with kids before GTA 6 comes out at this rate. But yeah, it sucks to see that. I hate to see when these creators have to deal with this stuff, but sadly, the world we live in. And as we're going to be moving on to our next hacking news, and that is one that, funny enough, I talked to someone on the phone about this. I'm circling around it. Nickelodeon has reportedly been hacked, and the hacker released the entire Avatar movie, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. The movie was supposed to be released in October this year, and it's been fully leaked. I saw the clip. I saw the hacker. He posted saying, and I quote, he was saying that, oh, Paramount sent me this full movie through an email. I'm only posting a clip about it, but if they don't do this and this, I'll post the full movie. And then they eventually, a day after, released the full movie. I have not, thankfully, seen the full movie because I want to support the creators, but sadly, as you can see, it has been fully leaked. And this is not a first for Paramount. Nickelodeon, of course, is a company under Paramount. And this is not the first time. They've had SpongeBob movies get leaked online. Specifically, it seems a lot of their movies that are supposed to go to streaming ends up getting leaked. They had not one but two SpongeBob movies that were supposed to go to Netflix get completely leaked online for people to see. And now an Avatar movie, one that was supposed to originally release in theaters, until Paramount released the bad news that it was going to get pushed to Paramount Plus, their streaming platform, which that made a lot of people mad, including myself, because I want to see more animated movies be able to reach the medium of being in an actual theater for people to sit back, eat popcorn, and watch, so then these creators can get that revenue. But you throw it onto a streaming platform, they're not going to get as much of that revenue as, say, a box office theatrical release could do. And it sucks that hackers have once again struck with another big project like this, you know. And even I'm going to show you, because there has been a response from the creators right here. I thankfully saved it. I am going to read this. It's sad. It's sad to see this. They said, and one of the creators behind this movie and the show said, "We worked on the movie for years in the hope of celebrating our hard work in theaters, only to see it leaked and Twitter users pass around the movie like it was a piece of candy." And this is the official screenshot. They had more, but this is only what's in the post here. As you can see, yeah, they said a lot more. "We worked on the Aang movie for years with the expectation that we'd get to celebrate all of our hard work in theaters, just to see people unceremoniously leak the film and pass our shots around on Twitter like candy." And that's sad. These people put a lot, because animation is a serious time that you are putting dedication into animating the frames, working on the animatics, working on the pre-production, working on all this stuff, the storyboards, etc., to make this movie. And not only did you have to make this movie, you thought it was going to release in theaters. You then get the news from the studio you work for that, hey, sorry, but we're no longer going to release your movie in theaters. Instead, we're going to release it on our streaming platform. In fact, a streaming platform that really no one uses. Out of all the streaming platforms out there, from Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, which I don't even think that's what it's called anymore, sadly, Peacock, Paramount Plus is one of the least used ones out there. No one really uses Paramount Plus. So you're taking a long-awaited movie that people have grown up with the series. I remember when I was a kid on Nickelodeon watching Avatar: The Last Airbender back in the day when I was a kid and stuff. And when I watched that show, I loved it. I grew up on it. So to see this animated movie that was getting ready to come out, that was going to continue the story with these characters now grown up, and thinking of the idea that, oh my goodness, it's going to be in theaters, this is going to be exciting. And then you see the news that they're putting it on, they're going to just throw it onto a streaming platform. That they're going to just throw it onto a streaming platform for it to probably just gain dust, not really make the money it deserves, and just leave it there to rot. It sucks. And now to see that on top of that, the full movie has been fully leaked online for people to see. And with that, that's going to take away revenue, because now people might have already went and watched the leaked movie and might say, oh, well, I've seen the movie online already. Why should I pay money for Paramount Plus to go and see this movie that I've already seen for free? So it sucks. That's disappointing. In general, with the Rockstar Games situation, and even this, it always sucks to see when hackers ruin the creativity and effort that goes behind these movies that are being worked on. So again, it sucks to see it. Share your opinions. What do you think about this whole hacker situation? Are these hackers getting a little out of hand? Man, it's always money. It's always money. That's all these hackers care about. They see the opportunity that, hey, we can hack this big company and threaten them with the opportunity to get big bucks. And if they don't make it, we'll just have to leak everything. It sucks. It really does. But like I said, I've only seen a clip. I don't intend on watching the leaked film. I want to support them when this comes out. Who knows? Maybe this will push Paramount and Nickelodeon to have to release this sooner rather than later. Maybe they might release it in theaters because people are making a big fuss about this being leaked. So who knows? Share your opinions on that. What do you think? Do you share my opinions? Do you feel bad for the people who have worked hard on this animated movie? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Do you feel bad that all their hard work is being kind of thrown into the trash because of some hackers that wanted to make a big buck? But Again, that's what the chat and comment section is for. Share your opinions down below. What do you think? But now we're going to start moving on to our final two topics of the night. One of them is, speaking of Paramount, since we just talked about them, Paramount, we did talk briefly that a merger is supposed to be happening where Paramount is going to be buying Warner Brothers and fusing into one big company. Well, you know I've shared my opinion. I don't really like it. It sucks to see that this monopoly is happening with all these movie studios. It happened with Disney buying Marvel, then Disney bought Fox. Now Paramount at first we were supposed to see Netflix buy Warner Brothers, but I think with some meddling from a certain U.S. president and Israel, I think some meddling happened and they forced Netflix to back out of the bidding war, and now Paramount is going to be buying Warner Brothers. Well, that might not happen because now we've been seeing the rumblings kind of go on where courts are saying, no, this isn't going to happen. We're going to take them to court. We're not going to let this go down, because if this happens, the implications of a certain U.S. president having more control of the movie industry due to his connections with Paramount could be catastrophic for the film industry as a whole. And well, it's gotten even bigger now, as I even have an update to this, but one of the things that was reported on the 13th was over 1,000 major names in Hollywood signed an open letter opposing the Warner Brothers Paramount merger. This includes people like Denis Villeneuve, the director for the Dune movies, J.J. Abrams, another director, Bryan Cranston. We all know Bryan Cranston. He played Walter White in Breaking Bad. He was the chemist teacher. He was in the 2014 Godzilla movies. He was in Malcolm in the Middle as the dad. So he's voiced against it. Mark Ruffalo, aka the guy who plays the Hulk now in the Marvel movies. Joaquin Phoenix, Damon Lindelof. I might be pronouncing some of these names wrong. I'm trying my best, guys. I really am. Noah Weil, Glenn Close, Jane Fonda, David Fincher, Ted Danson, and more. So directors and actors are signing some sort of petition, open letter, opposing the idea of Paramount buying out Warner Brothers and fusing it to one company. And I hope this doesn't go through. Like I said, the implications, especially of who's connected to Paramount, this could seriously ruin a lot of the film industry as a whole if this ends up going through. And the fact that there's a lot of pushback is telling me we could possibly see this fall flat, and that's what I'm rooting for. I don't want Paramount to end up with Warner Brothers. And like I said, I do actually have an update, because today, let me see here if I can find it. Oh yeah, this is another piece of little news here. Since one of the future news we're going to talk about in a few seconds is Cinemacon, where that's a big movie event going on. So of course, the week where all the big movie news is going on, that's where that's where we're getting all this additional stuff in the movie industry. Here we go. Today, it was reported by Variety, Pedro Pascal and Florence Pugh are the latest actors to condemn Paramount buying Warner Brothers in an open letter that's now been signed by more than 2,000 Hollywood names. We are deeply concerned by indications of support for this merger that prioritize the interest of a small group of powerful stakeholders over the broader public good. The integrity, independence, and diversity of our industry could be grievously compromised. Read the letter. Competition is essential for a healthy economy and a healthy democracy. So is thoughtful regulation and enforcement. Media trying to say these names and words sometimes can be tough, but I'm going to get it. Media consolidation has already weakened one of America's most vital global industries, one that has long shaped culture and connected people around the world. Some people should recognize some of these faces. They've been in the Marvel movies. He plays Mr. Fantastic in the new Fantastic Four movies, and she plays in the Thunderbolts movie in the MCU. So as you can see, there's more people joining in on this fight against Paramount owning Warner Brothers. And again, I don't want to see it happen. You guys share your opinion. What do you think about this possibility of Paramount gaining this huge control over another big studio like Warner Brothers? And someone even made a funny post actually about the whole big leak that happened with Paramount. I don't know how Warner Brothers would be comfortable letting their company be controlled by Paramount, who clearly their security is not good, if hackers are able to get in there and leak all of their projects. Think about it, Warner Brothers. Just saying, you guys join with Paramount, your security is going to be absolutely trash. And who knows, all your big time movies could get leaked to the public for all eyes to see, and then you're going to lose revenue. So I don't think this is going to go through. I think a lot of people are starting to push back because they're starting to realize the real implications of this merger. And I think we will see Warner Brothers still be its own independent studio. But hey, considering who's involved with this, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to start any riots in my comment section. But considering who's involved heavily with Paramount, they could make a push for them to get control of Warner Brothers. But again, share your opinions in the chat and comment below. What do you think about this huge merger? Do you think that this could be a good thing, or do you agree with me that this could be a bad thing for the movie industry? But last but not least, our final movie news is, as I did briefly mention, is Cinemacon. Yes, Cinemacon. If you are not familiar, Cinemacon is essentially a big movie event where for 4 days, all of the big movie studios gather around for this big event where reviewers and reporters get to see exclusive news and updates on new and upcoming movies from each studio. And when this is going down, this normally means we get to hear the new juicy news about upcoming movies that are going to release in the upcoming years. And as you could probably even read on this list here, we have a lot of big names that are going to be showing up. Yesterday, Sony Pictures was the first studio to show off, where they went from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and they talked about some stuff they talked about the new Spider-Verse movie. They talked about the new Jumanji movie. I know there's people who like that one. So they had movies to talk about. I know we will probably show some pictures in a second where they went over some brief little topics, but before we do go into those topics, I don't want to get distracted. So Monday was Sony Pictures. Today, currently right now, which, like I said, that is why I mentioned I have my phone here, paying attention to all the news that has been going on, as I got to stay up on that because because of what's going on, they got to share stuff. They could be breaking down what's going on. And even as I look at my phone now, a lot of news has gone off, because today we had Godzilla Minus Zero, the sequel to Godzilla Minus One, have a little bit of some news get shared about it, where people who were in attendance at Cinemacon got to see a full-blown trailer and even a little bit of some footage of the movie, seeing the new design for Godzilla, as well as kind of what to possibly expect. Some of those things being that, let me see if I can even pull it up. Some of those things being Godzilla's new design, as I actually just had it there before this updated. Thank you. Godzilla's new design here, as you can see. Look at my boy. He looks like a beast. He's got dorsal plates on his shoulders. He's looking a lot bigger than he was in Minus One. Another thing that was shown in this is that he's going to be bigger. He's going to be attacking New York, actually. Yeah, that's big for Godzilla fans, because the last time Godzilla attacked New York was all the way back in 1998, when there was that really bad America Godzilla film when you guys might remember. Let me see if I could pull it up here. Let me see. Godzilla 1998. Yeah, the Roland Emmerich, the guy who made Independence Day Godzilla movie. I remember watching this one a few times, and I used to be a big fan of it, but growing up, I started to realize how actually it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not a Godzilla. This isn't Godzilla. As you can see, he looks more like a T-Rex than he does Godzilla, but still, that was the last time we really had Godzilla attack New York, and now we're seeing, years later, a Japan-based Godzilla movie will be now attacking New York, of all places. Not Tokyo, not Japan, but New York. So that's exciting to see that he's going to be going there. And even as you can see, there was actually a little trailer that while I'm talking, I am going to have play in the background here, where they did release the little teaser trailer at 6 p.m. Central Time. And as you'll be seeing in the background while I'm talking, I know I muted that thing. There we go. But yeah, so as you can see, this is picking up a little bit a couple years after the events of that -1 movie. I really liked it. It was cool to get a more serious take on Godzilla, especially considering all those MonsterVerse movies we had going on were a little more of the, they were taking more inspiration from the goofier type of stuff. And yeah, they were taking inspiration from more the goofier side of Godzilla, more of that earlier days, the, as we call it, the Showa era, where you could tell it's people in suits and everything. And yeah, as you can see, look at him. He's a lot bigger than he was in the first movie. He's now as big as he's actually bigger than the Statue of Liberty, which in the last movie, he wasn't that big. So he's gotten juiced up. And he's going to be evolving. So as we're seeing, looks like this is going to be an anticipated movie. I love Godzilla. I'm excited to see what they got in store with the sequel. The first one was really good, so I can't wait to see what this director is going to be cooking up. But again, that was one of the things shown at Cinemacon. One of the other studios is Neon. I did not see anything that came from Neon, sadly, today, so they've been kind of quiet. But Warner Brothers is the big one that is currently going on right at this moment, which we will be going into some, before we do end the show, some of the little brief stuff that has been shared from Warner Brothers panel and what they've talked about. Tomorrow on Wednesday, Forgotten Island, I guess an upcoming movie here, is going to be having a special screening for all the people in attendance. Let's see, Forgotten Island. Oh yeah, okay, I did see this trailer. This is the new DreamWorks animated movie about two friends who get stuck on this island where if they stay there for too long, they'll begin to forget their memories and forget that they are best friends. I saw the trailer. I don't know if I'm going to see it when it comes out, but it looks like a cute film, especially for the people who got that one friend that they never want to forget about. It looks like it's going to be really, really diving into that. So apparently there is going to be there's going to be a special screening going on there at Cinemacon where people in attendance will see the movie early. So, that means people will post the reviews in the days coming on if it's good or not. I'll probably pay attention to see if it's worth my time. But also, Universal, they'll be having their panel as well, talking about their upcoming movies. I could definitely see them talking about the Odyssey, the Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie that's going to be coming out from them. That's supposed to be coming out this year, featuring Matt Damon, Tom Holland, John Bernthal. So they definitely will probably have something. It's going to be a adaptation based off of the old movie and book of the same name, The Odyssey. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to talk about. We might get another trailer tomorrow too, since they'll talk about it. Another studio that will be up there will be Amazon. We know Amazon is big. They got a lot of stuff, but they probably won't talk about the things going to their streaming platform. Probably more so stuff that's going to be going to theaters. So a lot of people anticipate that, who knows, maybe Amazon might talk about a new James Bond movie. We haven't heard anything about that for quite some time, and I think enough time has passed. I think we need a new James Bond movie to talk about. So we'll definitely see what they have in store. And then finally, on the last day of CinemaCon, we will have Paramount Pictures that will start the day off, which they have a lot of stuff to talk about. They probably are going to talk about the new Sonic movie. They probably have some animated movies to talk about as well. So that'll be exciting to see, as well as Disney will finish off CinemaCon, and I know they got a lot of stuff because I know there's been spottings of the posters for live-action Moana, so they'll probably talk about that. They'll definitely talk about a lot of Marvel-based stuff, specifically a certain Avengers Doomsday movie that's supposed to be coming out this year that we have not gotten a single trailer. Well, we've gotten teaser trailers for, but no official trailer yet. So we know we're anticipating that. Don't pay attention to the images below. That's AI generated. That's fake. But we got to get a trailer sooner or later. So the fact that Disney will be there, I suspect they will talk more about this upcoming Doomsday film. And again, we've had Sony Pictures. They've talked a little bit about some stuff yesterday. Let's see if I can pull up here on discussing films. I love them. They're a very reliable source when it comes to talking movie news. Here we go. Sony did talk about Beyond the Spider-Verse. They released some new images on the left here. These four were the previous last new images we had seen of the upcoming animated movie to finish off the trilogy. I love these Spider-Verse films. They are so fun to watch. They have been an enjoyable time. They give really good storytelling, and this honestly could go down as one of the best trilogies out there in cinema history. But these were the original four images that were released, but on the right here, these are the new ones that have been released, as there was a new footage shown to anybody in attendance. And as you see in these few images, we got Miles with his dad. We got a new image of Spider-Punk saying "gonna save your dad," because for anybody that didn't see that last movie, Miles is trying his best to save his father, because there is a canon event that's explained. A canon event is something that typically is something that's supposed to technically happen to every Spider-Man who wears the mask. And sadly, the canon event that's supposed to be happening to Miles is that his dad is supposed to die. But he's not in agreement with that. He wants to save his father, and now it's now a race against time to try and save his father from possibly dying by any means necessary, while this guy right here, Miguel O'Hara, another Spider-Man, is going to be trying to stop Miles from breaking the timeline. And as we see in one of these other images, we see a young picture of Miles' dad along with his uncle Aaron. So I'm excited, man. I feel like this movie's going to pull out some tears. It seems like it's going to be heavily focused on the bond and relationship between Miles and his father, especially because he's trapped in another universe where Miles lost his dad and became kind of a vigilante, and you even see him fighting against that other universe version of himself. So I'm excited. I can't wait. They talked about that. They talked about Jumanji. This is the one I really felt like talking about, because we do got to keep it moving and pushing. And one of the last things that we are going to talk about is, of course, Warner Brothers. They're talking about their upcoming stuff. And as we're going to kind of scan through what they've shown off, some of the new things that Warner Brothers has shown to people at Cinemacon here is, first off, let's see. That's the Godzilla Minus Zero stuff. So one of the things, for anybody that likes the Ocean 11 movies, there will be a prequel coming out in 2027. It's just we haven't got a title yet. It's just all we know is it's the Ocean's prequel. It will be releasing in 2027 again, and this will be following the parents of Danny Ocean. For anybody that might not remember, the Ocean's 11. I remember seeing Ocean's 11. I actually thought it was a pretty enjoyable movie. It was one of those films that you would always say was like the ensemble cast movie. They would always grab it was a remake of the original, but it would always be grabbing all these big name celebrities that you knew. The original Ocean's 11, of course, having George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, and Don Cheadle, and them being kind of part of a group that's pulling off heists. And there was always a sequel that would add more actors, and there was the prequel that focused on Danny Ocean's sister, and now we're getting, well, not a prequel. It was kind of a prequel sequel, and then now we're getting another prequel that will focus on his parents being played by Bradley Cooper and Margot Robbie at their time, where they're going to have some kind of heist going on in 1962 at the Grand Prix. So you got to tell me, are you excited for the next Ocean's movie? I'll check it out. I like the Ocean's movie. Another thing, there was a teaser for Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. This is kind of a sequel. We all know people love these Lord of the Ring movies, and we've known for a while that they are going to be moving forward with this movie that's going to focus on Gollum, who, of course, is played by Andy Serkis. They even released this little poster right here. Let me see if I can get my camera out the way. They released this poster where they announced some of the cast members who will be returning. Andy Serkis, again, will be coming back as Gollum and Smeagol. I've never watched any of the Lord of the Rings movies. I know that's crazy. These have been out for a while. As a kid, I never got the chance to really watch them. But, yeah, Andy Serkis is coming back. Ian McKellen is going to be coming back as Gandalf. Kate Winslet as Marigold. Jamie Dornan will come back as Strider. We have Leo Woodall as Halvard. We have Lee Pace as Thranduil, and Elijah Wood will be returning as Frodo Baggins. So it's cool. I know a lot of those Lord of the Rings fans will be excited for this movie. This especially be seeing a lot of these cast members coming back one more time for this film, and it'll be coming out in 2027 of December. So, hey, get ready, get excited. There was sadly some other news that was announced that the original actor who played Aragorn, he will not be coming back for this movie, and they have now had to cast a replacement in the form of Jamie Dornan. I don't know too much about this actor. From that outfit he's got on, I'm not going to lie, that looks like he's probably been in a Game of Thrones. Let's see here. I'm taking a wild guess this man has been in Game of Thrones. I feel he just gives off the vibes from that outfit. Maybe Game of Thrones. Let's see here. I am not seeing Game of Thrones, so I'm probably wrong. My bad. But you see he's been in Once Upon a Time, the 50 Shades movie, so he'll be now portraying Aragorn in the new Lord of the Rings movie. We'll see how fans feel about his performance, especially now that the original is not coming back. But another thing is the first teaser for the upcoming Tom Cruise movie Digger has been shown, where Tom Cruise is playing as an elderly CEO who must fix a worldwide catastrophe that he caused. Cruise has gray receding hair and a prosthetic nose. See the footage description here. We're not going to go into that, but I did remember seeing the little teaser they dropped, and he was dancing around and stuff in the teaser. I was like, okay, all right, this is gonna be a musical, which is definitely drastically different for a Tom Cruise movie. But as long as it's good, as long as it tells a good story, got good acting, I'll be there to watch it. So we'll have to see what's going on. Of course, we did already talk about the casting for that. The big other ones is the DC news. The upcoming sequel to the 2025 Superman movie, Man of Tomorrow, will begin filming next week. We've known James Gunn, the director of the movie, has been dropping hints and teasers of Superman and Lex Luthor standing next to each other. So fans have been predicting that this means this next movie will be a team-up movie between Lex Luthor and Superman. And if I can find, here we go. So David Cornsweet, the actor of Superman, and Nicholas Hoult, the actor who plays Lex Luthor in these new movies, they did a tease for Man of Tomorrow at Cinemacon where they said a new villain and an unlikely alliance, where they also say, try saving the world with your sworn enemy. So pretty much confirming what fans were able to put two and two together, that these two will be working together to take on a new villain. That supposed villain that a lot of us comic fans are thinking is going to be none other than Brainiac. He's been a Superman villain for years. He's only seen as like the smartest Superman villain out there. Always feels like he has every kind of way to counter Superman in intelligence department. And so now we see with Superman coming in here, he's going to have to get some help from Lex Luthor, who currently now is in jail. So he's going to have to break him out and be like, hey, Lex, you and me, we're going to have to work together, and we're going to have to take down this Brainiac guy before he destroys the world. And he thinks he's smarter than you, which Lex Luthor, we know how cocky and bold he is. He's not going to have that. So that's going to be fun to see these two characters bounce off of each other and see how will Lex Luthor and Superman be able to work together to take down a bigger bad. So you have to share in the chat. What do you think? Are you excited for this next Superman movie, or are you like, I can care less, but hey, if people are excited for a new Superman movie, I'm excited. Share that in the chat. Next, in DC news, apparently Cinemacon viewers did get their first teaser for Clayface. That is a Batman villain who's getting his own standalone kind of thriller movie, where the first teaser was shown, where it shows the actor who will be portraying Clayface disfigured in hospital, spliced with shots of Gotham City. The footage ends with his face falling off in the bathtub. Yeah, because if you don't know, for the comic fans, Clayface in the comics, he was known originally as an actor that would be starring in all of these feature films and stuff until he wanted to look perfect. And he started to take this substance, which then started to turn him into what you see here in this image, turning him into the Batman villain Clayface, and so on and so forth. The rest is history. He becomes one of Batman's iconic villains. Not as iconic as, say, like the Penguin or Mr. Freeze or the Joker, But Clayface is definitely up there, an iconic Batman villain. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle a standalone movie. The last time DC and Warner Brothers tried to do a standalone Batman villain movie, we had the first Joker movie that was good, and then they tried to do a second one that was mid. So you have to share. Are you excited for another standalone Batman villain movie, or do you think they need to stop? But I'm excited. I think that this could be good if it's done right. Next, another DC news. Jason Momoa showed up at Cinemacon where he says playing Lobo has been a dream come true. It's the comic I collected. I feel like 12-year-old me would be freaking out. I did briefly talk about this. He will be showing up in the Supergirl movie portraying this character, and it was always talked about that before he was casted as Aquaman, it was always said that he loved the character of Lobo and he wished he could have portrayed him. Sadly, it didn't work out. He became Aquaman, but now he has the opportunity to portray the character he's always wanted to. And I love Jason Momoa, so it'll be fun to see how he portrays his character in the upcoming Supergirl movie. Next, one of the things here from Supergirl as well is at CinemaCon, a new sequence for Supergirl shows Kara on an intergalactic bus that is raided by pirates, slowly kickstarting an action sequence. My dog's dying, so I don't really have time for this. That's her quote. Yeah, the trailer sadly kind of spoiled one of the big plot points in the movie. I'm not going to say it myself because I don't want to be like the trailer, but if you did see it, it's pretty important. But yeah, we talked about Supergirl briefly in the trailer. It looks like it's going to be a fun time, you know. I like the Superman movie, so I definitely will see Supergirl just to be in support of this new DC universe that James Gunn is trying to kickstart. So I like the trailer. It looks fun. It looks action-packed. It looks like it's going to tell a compelling story between Krypto and Kara. So we'll see how this handles itself. Another thing that was also talked about with the Clayface movie is it's being called a riveting horror thriller. The film looks to be similar to Feet of Clay from Batman the Animated Series, spliced with a more brutal horror tone. And I remember growing up, even though I wasn't born when the animated series came out, I remember growing up watching the reruns of the series. That series is held in high regard for being one of the best Batman media out there. And I know for a fact that Feet of Clay has been regarded as one of the best episodes out there, especially featuring Clayface. So to know that they're saying that this movie is going to be taking a lot of elements from that episode, that's leaving a lot of people, including myself, feeling hopeful that, okay, they got the right groundwork to do this right. But that's, in as I'm even seeing from the time here, I'm actually even going to check just to make sure, because anything could happen here, folks. We know that, let's see. Let us see. Did anything new get talked about here? Nope, it does not look like it. So we are going to end the show tonight. We don't want to make this too long. We did go a little bit over that typical mark. I mean, hey, I never said when this show would be ending, but typically we'd always be ending by 8:30. There's just, once again, so much news to talk about. And I want to be able to share as much as I could in an efficient, timely manner. And, of course, with Cinemacon, this seems to be the end half of the upcoming news. Nothing new seems to be going on, but there still is those rumors with Warner Brothers that they could be talking about the upcoming Godzilla Kong movie. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Sadly, if something does happen, I'll try to maybe make a YouTube short reporting on it, especially because we got to see who the big villain is going to be for that upcoming movie. But again, this is going to be the end of Fleetway's Roundup. As always, I thank everybody who loves to tune in, comment, support, and interact with me while I share this news to you. I'm glad that I keep getting support each and every day, and I take every small win that I can. And once again, you guys have a good night. You take care of yourself and stay